If Matthews was guaranteed a fully healthy season but only scored 40 goals, would you take the guarantee or gamble on a true return to stardom? We debate that, McKenna's expectations, Bobrovsky's, and more. You're listening to the Locked On at Leafs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day.
You're Locked On Maple Leafs, your daily podcast on the Toronto Maple Leafs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome into the Locked On at Leafs podcast, the daily Maple Leaf Central podcast hosted by myself, Mike Distefano, and my co-host, Dave Morassutti. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Join all the action at FanDuel.com to play daily dingers and make your free pick on who's hitting a homer this MLB season. What's happening, Dave? How we feeling on a Wednesday?
Not too bad, not too shabby. I know that we're getting closer. We're inching just every day.
We are. We're definitely getting close. September 29th is when the season begins. Training camp kicking off in, I think the 15th. They report to training camp, short camp too. Keep in mind. There's only 4 preseason games, and they're pretty much split squad games. So these players really now only going to have like 2 preseason games to get themselves ready to go, which they've been clamoring for that for a while. But with so much turnover, I am going to be interested to see how that works, because that's not going to give Coach Jim Hiller a whole lot of time to try and experiment some things. But we'll get to that plenty. We're back to full 5 days a week starting next week. So we could debate all that next week once we get back to 5 days a week. Again, you can find the podcast wherever you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify. You can also find us on YouTube as well. So Dave, I got a fun little game that I want to play today, and it's called Guarantee or Gamble. And it's essentially a way that we can kind of set expectations for a lot of the prime members of the Toronto Maple Leafs for the upcoming season. So basically, I'm going to give you a scenario. It's like a risk-reward type of scenario. And you got to tell me, you're either going to take the guarantee that I'm offering, or are you going to gamble and bet on yourself? Kind of like a role-playing exercise type of game here. You ready to go? You got any questions?
No, let's go for it.
All right, let's get right to it. We'll start with Gavin McKenna, the top prospect for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Everyone's excited to see what Gavin McKenna could do as a ripe 18-year-old in the league. If you are Gavin McKenna, do you take a guarantee of a 60-point rookie campaign with a top 6 role, but you're the runner-up for the Calder, or do you gamble on yourself to better that mark, possibly more than 60 points, and win the Calder? How much faith do you have in Gavin McKenna?
Oh, man. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, 60 points, but the runner-up for the Calder, or you can gamble and try and better it. What do you think?
Yeah, because, I mean, you look at the Calder, that's just such a nice clear-cut mark of where you're at. I want to see him blow all expectations out of the water. I would really. It's interesting.
Yeah, I think everyone would like to see that.
Yeah, I'd rather him.
He's currently second. He's currently second, by the way, in Calder odds. He's at plus 280 on FanDuel. Porter Martone favored at plus 260. So he's, as of now, he is also technically the runner-up in betting odds, if that influences your decision at all.
I don't know if it influences my decision because, the one thing I will say, Macklin Celebrini did not win the Calder the year that he got into the NHL. So it's not a be-all, end-all for a player to not win the Rocket. I'm sorry, not win the Calder. So personally, I would love for him to just blow all expectation out of the water, go for the Calder. So I'd rather go with that. but I wouldn't be upset if he didn't get it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I would still like for him. I would take the gamble of him trying to. You're in a prime position right now that not many rookies get, not many first overall picks get to go into a roster like this, and that's why I would take the gamble on him to, be the best that he can be.
Okay, so you're gambling. So you're going to gamble and assume that he can be better than a 60-point player in his first season. So that's interesting. I feel like I'd take it. I feel like I would take that guarantee because this is what you avoid. You avoid the struggle, right? Like
True.
You look at the seasons that someone like Yuri Slafkovsky had or Alexis Lafreniere had in his first year, and not that you're going to be quick to put the B word on him, bust. But I mean, if you have a 60-point season, like that's a bona fide rookie year. Like Celebrini, bring him up. I think he only had 61 points as a rookie in his first year. Auston Matthews, I think he had 69 points in his rookie season. I was looking it up. Mitch Marner had like 55 points in his rookie season. So if you're Gavin McKenna, you finished the year with 60 points. You're playing a top 6 role. So what? You didn't win the Calder, but you proved that like you are capable as an 18-year-old of being a top 6 player in the league in a tough Atlantic division. I think that'd be considered a successful campaign. Like, I feel like I'd take that if you're Gavin McKenna, because then that just avoids the worries of the struggle that sometimes young kids can have. And I would take the guaranteed success there, 60 points and a top 6 role. I think that's probably where I'd go.
I don't think there's a wrong. I get that. I think either way, maybe he has kind of some struggles along the way. That's fine. As long as it's not a totally, like, we don't want a Yakupov situation eventually.
Well, that's what I mean. So but by gambling, right? By gambling and not taking the guaranteed 60 points top 6 player, you're risking the possibility that Gavin McKenna, who is undersized, Gavin McKenna, who got off to a slow start when he transitioned to the college game, you're risking that this could not go as well for him in year one with the Maple Leafs. Like, you are risking that by not taking the guaranteed 60 points, but you're willing to. You have that much faith in Gavin McKenna where you think that he could be better than a 60-point player in year one.
Yeah, I think do I think he's going to be, over and top, just, throwing out 100 points? No, I don't think so. That would be the true surprise for me. Again, I would be good either way. I would just think that if this Leafs team wants to be good, you're going to need a gamble like that to pay off.
Yeah. All right. So there it is. So that's Gavin McKenna. We've got 4 more players, and I got an overall Leafs question to get to as well. So let's take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll get to some of the other players. I got the Auston Matthews question coming up next. That one's going to be very interesting to break down. I'm Mike Distefano with Dave Morassutti. You're listening to the Locked On Leafs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Odoo. Running a business shouldn't feel like you're trying to connect a bunch of systems that were never designed to work together. One app for accounting, another for inventory, another for sales, and somehow none of them talk to each other. That's where Odoo comes in. Odoo is an all-in-one business management software that brings every part of your business together in one powerful platform. From sales and accounting to inventory and marketing, everything works in one place. Odoo is one platform to manage, grow, and scale your business. The best organizations know that success isn't just about talent. It's about having everyone working toward the same goal. It's true in sport, just like it's true in business. One thing that really stands out about how great organizations get everyone pulling in the same direction, it's not just one great player or a great coach. It was a coordinated effort across the entire organization that makes it successful. Great organizations win because operations matter, and that's why you should get Odoo. Try it for free today at odoo.com/lockedon. That's odoo.com/lockedon. The Locked On Leafs podcast continues. Mike Distefano and Dave Morassutti with you as we are Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for this week. And then we're back to Monday to Friday, 5 shows a week starting next week, all the way through until next summer. So it's our last little semi-vacation week, I guess, where we get a couple of days off in between shows. But with the hockey season fast approaching, we'll be back at her starting next week with 5 shows a week for you guys. All right, we'll continue with the guarantee or gamble here. You're Auston Matthews, Dave. Do you take the guarantee of a fully healthy season with Selke nominations, but you only score 40 goals? Do you take it, or do you gamble on yourself to return as the NHL's premier two-way goal-scoring talent?
Man.
Play it through your head. Maybe.
Yeah, because look, I guess a lot of Leafs fans just want to see this guy play without any issues with his health. And they would take that guarantee of just having him there because you know what he can do when he's healthy and at least performing at that type of level where, okay, maybe he's not potting 60 goals, but 40 is a pretty decent number, right? And he's still force, and a contributor each and every night as much as he can be. But on the flip side, Auston Matthews, what made this Leafs team take off is him being one of those premier players.
Mm-hmm.
Him being that Rocket Richard caliber goal scorer where he's, he can go on stretches where he can score, 7 goals in 8 games or a couple of hat tricks in a row. Like, we've seen that side of him. I think a lot of people miss that. I really do. I think they miss having that guy that can, be that type of presence. I don't blame them. If that's where is that what they miss. But in a way, I kind of just feel like if you can just get this guy healthy and playing at a level that's, keeps this team competitive, I think a lot of people would take that right now.
I think I agree with you. Where I take the fully healthy season. Like, sure, 40 goals isn't 50 goals. You're not going to win a Rocket Richard with 40. I think everyone understands that. But 40 is a heck of a lot better than 29. Right? And
the math's there.
The maths, of course. And I think also the little wrinkle in there that I threw in is the Selke nominations. If you're still playing at a high level defensively, playing like that Selke caliber player that he has been in the past, like when he was an MVP, he was, top 5 offensive and defensive center in the NHL. Okay, if he doesn't score 69 goals, 60 goals, 50 goals, but he's still a top 5 center defensively, I think that at least shows us this season that it's a step in the right direction, right? That he's healthy, he's engaged, he's strong enough to do what needs to be done defensively, and maybe just a little snake bit and only landing with 40 goals. That happens. But if he could stay healthy and prove that he can still be a two-way force, 40 is nothing to snuff at. Like, let's be honest, 40 is still a big number. It's not quite as big as the numbers he's put up in the past, but like if anyone else on the team scored 40, that's a great season. Like even Nylander, like he's hit 40 a couple of years here in a row, and that's like, wow, Nylander, 40 goals, that's awesome, right? 45 the other year, sure, but still, like when guys hit 40, it's a big deal. So I would take that. I when it comes to Auston Matthews, I'm not necessarily going to look at the season and look at the goal total and decide if he had a good year or not. Decide if he's back or not. Decide if he's a star player or not. Because there's still a world in which this guy scores 40 at the end of the season and can still allow us to look and be like, you know what, he looked right. He looked more like the horse he was a couple of years back. Like they didn't drop as much, but man, was he ever a force to be reckoned with as a full 200-foot player. So I would take that, man. Like if he's fully healthy and plays like 80 games, 80 out of 84, and is just a two-way force. Yeah, I think that's I would take that over the opportunity to compete for the Rocket all day long. It's not like there's that big of a deal between 40 and 45. If he's healthy, I'll take that all day.
I would too. And like I'm looking at the list here, like there are 15 players who scored 40 or more last year. Right? That's pretty good company to be, amongst the list. Like I'm looking at.
How many guys scored 50? I think it was what, three guys or two? It was just Caulfield and McKinnon.
McDavid had 48. Celebrini had 45. Right. Like we know that he can score goals, and like I hate the fact that he didn't even get to even close to 40, because like he never been lower than that in a full season. Like that's just not what we expected from him. But he's also made it known that he's also trying to be more the player that's going to help the team win versus making him look good, because he's already won the Rocket. He's already won that MVP. Like individually, that's fine. He's done those individual things, but he hasn't won the big one. Now, I also argue that him being at his best offensively is what this team needs to compete. But we also know that part of his game, he's relied heavily on being that, defensively sound forward and not just someone that's going to just go and score. He wants to be counted on in all situations. So, yes, there is a fine balance you have to strike there in doing that.
Yeah. I also think, there's a world in which he scores 40 goals, but that doesn't mean that he's taken a step back offensively. What Nyes gobbles up a little bit more goal scoring, right? What if Gavin McKenna, scores some more goals, or he's playing on a line with Jack Roslovic, who is a goal scorer? Like that's what his calling card is. So maybe he turns into he gives up a little bit more than he did when he was playing with Marner, where Marner, a clear, playmaker, feeder. If he ends up playing with Nyes and Roslovic, maybe he feeds the puck a little bit more, and he just ends up with a few more assists than goals at the end of the year. Still think it's very possible for him to score 40 and it to be considered a successful season if the rest of the body of work is kind of back to normal. So yeah, I'm with you there. I'll take it. All right, you're John Tavares. You're guaranteed 50 points this season. You take it or you gamble on yourself?
50 points. Ooh.
I mean, the guy, he's 35. He's going to be 30.
70?
He's going to be 36 years old.
True.
55 points. Let's make it 55. Make it a little bit more
50 is a little, I think that's quite a
little low
for him.
Okay, 55 points.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so he had 71. If it means he has better defensive numbers, I will take the guarantee. But if he's not that as good defensively, go and score a bunch of goals, man. Just go be an offensive guy.
Yeah. I mean, sure, you can look at it that way, but I don't know. At 36 years old, if you can get 55 points out of Tavares, I think that's not bad.
It's not, but man,
it's not enough. You don't think that's enough?
Not enough for me because he's usually a 60-point guy. Worse, at worst, right? He only hit 50. He's always been in kind of hovering in the 65 and up range. To me, that's quite a dip for him. And I know he's getting older. I totally get that.
Mm-hmm.
But this guy always comes in incredible shape. I don't see John Tavares where the body is failing on him, right? Yes, he is slower. He is not a fast player. But he makes up for it in other ways. But he's never seen... I've never, once thought, man, this guy just looks like he is so out of shape. He's always looked really good. And he's been durable, right? 80 games played, 75, 82. He has been so durable that if you're staying and you're able to play between 80 and 84 games, I think he can get at least 65 points at worst, 60 to 65 points.
Here's where I'll push back on that, right? Here's where I'll push back on that. The last couple years, I mean, granted, a decline because of age is also possible.
Right.
What about a decline in power play opportunity? Right? Think about the potential power play the Leafs could put out there this year, right? You've got Matthews, you've got Nylander. Those guys are going to be non-negotiables. Darren Raddysh, non-negotiable. Gavin McKenna, probably going to be a guy you want out there feeding the puck around. And you got to decide, do we want John Tavares or do we want Matthew Nyes in front of the net? Which of those two players do we want out there? Which of those two players do we want, in that bumper role, right? So if he loses out on those minutes on the top power play, he could also lose out on a significant amount of points and cookies that way too.
Mm-hmm.
So if he's guaranteed 55 points, that might be pretty well at 5-on-5, which would be a good season. I'm just throwing that out there.
One thing I'll say, let's say he's not as big of a contributor on the power play and it's down to half of what we expect. That would put him in the 60-point range still. So
your expectations is for Tavares to just copy paste last season, like you would expect
not
for him
exactly
to walk in like 65, 70 points?
I think so, because Matthew and I should hopefully be a bigger factor than he was a big factor last year. I think he can be an even bigger factor this year. And who's he going to play with? You're likely expecting Auston Matthews, probably. You could see him play some time with Tavares too, because that's what he did last year.
Yeah, Nyes, Tavares, and Willie could see that as a line there, and Roslovic's going to play up with Tavares or with Matthews and McKenna.
I think that's a possibility for sure. I
So
mean,
you're gambling. You're gonna gamble on Tavares.
I'm gonna gamble on Tavares. Like, that's a player they've been kind of, in a way, you know what you're getting out of him most years. Like, I'm not worried about is John Tavares going to be able to give you enough? He usually has, right? And I think people were still pleasantly surprised that he had another 30-goal season, despite taking less money, and really his ice time has gone up. The only thing I have is, are they going to lower his ice time? And who they give it to other than him? Yes, the power play is one option.
Yeah.
But at 5-on-5, I'm expecting him to see a lot more offensive time as well.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, you would hope that's the case. I am curious too. Like, John Tavares was a very good fit in Craig Berube's system. Will he fit that well into more of a fast-paced Jim Hiller system? That is something I think we're also kind of that's like one of the questions I have heading into the season. All right, last one from a player perspective, and then we'll come back and we'll finish it up from a team perspective. You're Darren Raddysh. Keep in mind, Darren Raddysh, we scored 23 goals this past season for the Tampa Bay Lightning, signed a big fat contract with the Toronto Maple Leafs. If you're Darren Raddysh, do you take a guarantee 13 goals this season for Toronto, or do you gamble on yourself and hope to score more?
I would take the guarantee.
Take 13. You think 13 is enough to justify the Darren Raddysh contract?
I think so, because if he's still good defensively, and if he's still getting, he might not be scoring as many goals, because look, Kucherov puts up a lot of points, but he also puts up a lot of assists.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, Raddysh was brought in here to be a goal scoring threat from the point. Like, that's what he's brought in here to do. Like, he's not Chris Tanev. It's not that he's, a mess defensively, but I feel like Raddysh, a lot of the success of whether or not, you look at last year and think, oh, it was a fluke, right? Like, if he scored 13 goals this year, would you look at last year as a fluke then? Be like, yeah, I knew that was never going to happen.
Because
again.
Like, even the years before, it's
a big step back. It's a big step back, though. Like, going from 23 to 13.
But he went from 6 goals to 22, right? Like that. Like, now, 16 of those 22 goals were on the power play.
Yes.
So, yes, you're expecting him to be a top contributor on the power play. Did I get that right? Sorry, 10 goals on the power play, 32 points. Sorry, 16 points on the power play, 32 at even strength. So let me rephrase that. You got 10 power play goals last year.
Okay.
You had 3 the 2 years combined before that. To me, like, I don't know if he's going to score as many goals on the power play as he did in Tampa, because look who he has, Nikita Kucherov, that's feeding him, like one of the top points guy in the league.
I mean, I made this comparison when he got traded to Toronto, Dave. Who was the NHL player comparable for Gavin McKenna? Nikita Kucherov. I'm just saying.
But you also have Auston Matthews. And I think Auston Matthews is still going to be, like, no offense, Darren Raddysh is going to be able to get his opportunities. He ain't going to be the focal point of the power play. He's going to quarterback it, but he ain't going to be the focal point. Auston Matthews is going to be the Steven Stamkos. And technically, Darren Raddysh wasn't really there when Stamkos was there in that role. Right? It wasn't until Stamkos left that he took upon more of those power play opportunities. But, like, you still got so many other guys you're going to be feeding on that power play. And I think that's why I don't see as many goals from him. Maybe 13 is low, but I still consider that, kind of
good enough. In-between. Yeah.
Like that's in between from what he had 2 years before.
That's why I said 13, because I think 10 was a bit too low. 15 was a bit too high.
I would have been gamble on it being more than 10. Like I'd take him trying to go for another 20 goals. Like Morgan Rielly only hit that 20 goal mark one time. Right. Like one time, like 1 year, you just everything kind of works out well. That increased time, both on at 5-on-5, but also on the power play also plays a factor too. So I could see him getting close to 20. It's just I would take the guarantee of 13 to know that he is still a contributor offensively from the blue line.
All right. There you go. Good answer. I like it. Let us know down below what you would do with all these players. I got one more question. We'll get to that on the other side. Do you take a guarantee of a 100-point season from the Maple Leafs, or you'll have to stay tuned because I'll tell you what the alternative is on the other side? I'm Mike Distefano and Dave Morassutti. You're listening to the Locked On Leafs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day.
Today's edition of the Locked On Leafs podcast is brought to you by Indeed Sponsored Jobs. When workplace chaos hits and you need the right hire, Indeed Sponsored Jobs helps connect employers with candidates who match specific needs like skills, certifications, and locations. So less time gets spent searching and more time gets spent finding the right fit. The last thing you want is having to do more work than you want to, right? Sometimes it's also somebody who knows exactly what needs to happen and helps everything run smoother. That's why you need to spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Less stress, less time, more results. When you need the right person to cut through the chaos, this is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need a hire? This is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs.
Welcome back into the Locked On Leafs podcast. Mike Distefano and Dave Morassutti with you. All right, we got the final one of the day. Guarantee or gamble, Dave? You taking the guarantee or you get a gamble and bet on yourself? You're the Toronto Maple Leafs as an organization. Maybe you're John Chaika. Do you take the guarantee of a 100-point season with a second-round exit, or do you risk it and gamble on yourself and hope for more? So do you take the 100-point season with a second-round exit, or do you push for more? What do you think?
Oh, you got to push for more. I'm sorry. I mean, like, I know getting back to the playoffs,
team, they're a bottom 5 team in the league last year. If they win a playoff round, like what, that's not considered like success to you?
no, because we've seen this team win around.
Not
right?
this team. Not this team.
Not this exact team as John Chaika's constructed, but a lot of players on this team have won a playoff round before. Like, I think the bar's been set on the guys like, if you tell Auston Matthews right now, you know what, buddy, we're going to get out of this, the bottom of the standings. We're only going to get 100 points in one playoff series win. Nah, he ain't taking that. And I don't think anyone else on the team should either. Because there's guys on this team that want to win more than 2 rounds. If they make it to the conference finals and lose, if that was the guarantee, sure, definitely would take that because they haven't even been able to sniff a conference final.
No,
they got to game 7, but they also got their butts whooped in that game 7.
Yeah, on home ice in embarrassing fashion.
Right? So to me, it's like go and try to get further than that second round. Get out of the Atlantic.
Yes. Now I'll say this. So by giving up the guarantee of 100 points, second round exit, you're giving up a guaranteed playoff spot. I mean, last year the team finished as a bottom 5 team in the league. So you're not like, I don't think this Leafs team is guaranteed to make the playoffs. I think that this is a squad that is on, teetering on the, one of those wild card spots realistically. So you're willing to give up a guarantee of the playoffs as opposed and risk what could be just an utter failure of a season, just like last year was, at the risk of the opportunity to at least win 2 rounds.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because, well, first off, do I expect them to be bottom 5 again? Hopefully not. But, like, we have seen teams not even be in the top 3 in the division and go to a cup final. We've seen Florida do it a few times with some players that are currently on this Leafs team on those Florida teams, so they know what that's like. I think Edmonton, when they made it to a cup final, I don't think they were always in the top of the division. I think maybe top 3, but not always in the top of the division. Like, I think the days of teams worrying about being the top team in the division, because you still got to get out of the division, you just kind of want to put yourself in the position to be in a good spot heading into the playoffs rather than, win a division and not even guarantee yourself you're getting out of it, right? Home ice is nice. Hasn't meant a lot for the Leafs, especially in round 2. So I just think that you put yourself in the best position to go as far as you can in the playoffs. I don't think Chaika, I don't think that group would take a round 1 or even round 2 exit. They want to go further because there ain't much time, right, for this group. Eventually, at some points, we're going to have the Auston Matthews conversation of how much longer he's going to want to stick around here.
Yeah, can he handle losing? Yeah, another first or second round exit definitely wouldn't go very far in trying to keep him in the fold, I guess. He's used to that. Maybe a third round entrance would change it there, but I think you're right. I think I'm with you. I think I would risk it and gamble, and essentially just because, I don't think another second round exit would be considered a successful season. I think the expectation is this team, at least the way that they're thinking themselves, is they've got to be one of the final 4 teams in order to consider this season a success. I think I'm with you. I think I agree with that, Mark. So I'd take the gamble as well. And try and do better because at the end of the day, like, it's a team that is trying to win, right? Like they've got this 2-year window to win. You're gonna guarantee that you are essentially 50% of those 2 years, you're gonna throw in the garbage just to guarantee a playoff spot. Like, playoffs for what? If you're not gonna win a championship, who cares? So I'm with you, man. I'm definitely with you on that one. I think that's the expectation going into the year is the Maple Leafs. If it's not a Final Four finish, it's not a successful season in my mind for the Maple Leafs. All right, that'll do it for us here today on the podcast. Let us know if you guys enjoyed that segment. Maybe we can kind of put that around and do it with some other players next week or on Friday's show. There's a couple more that we didn't get to. Ran out of time. We talk too much, Dave. We always kind of run into that.
We're Italians, man. It's in our blood. It's in our nature. It happens.
Yeah, it happens. All right, we'll wrap it up, though, here today. I'd like to thank everyone for listening and supporting the show. You can subscribe to the Locked On Leafs podcast on all platforms and receive daily Leafs content. Follow myself on Twitter at Mickey_Canuck. Follow Dave at D_Morassutti and follow the show as well at Locked On Leafs. That's on Twitter and on Instagram. We'll be back with another episode for you guys on Friday. Until then, keep it locked right here on Locked On Leafs.